Do you know that the exception and error are two different things in Java? They are not the same. Exceptions are any runtime event that hinders the normal flow of a program, whereas errors are system level failures. Exception can be caught and handled, but failures are not. Exceptions are mainly divided in two types: checked exceptions and unchecked exceptions. Checked exceptions includes typical examples like IO exception, SQL exception, file not found exception, or class not found exception. Whereas unchecked example includes null pointer exceptions, which occurs when we try to access any null object. Arithmetic exceptions occurs when we try to divide a number by zero. Array index out of bound exception when we try to access an array element which is out of bound. Illegal argument exception or number format exception. Whereas error is a system level, and typical example includes out of memory error. It occurs when heap memory goes out of space. Stack overflow error occurs when stack memory goes out of space. So both exception and error are child class of throwable class. This is a class hierarchy where the superclass is object. Any class in Java is a child of object. So the hierarchy is like object, then the throwable class. Throwable will include exception and error. Exception further divided in two types: checked and unchecked, which are compile time and runtime. Now let's look at exception in detail. As we mentioned, exception is any abnormal runtime event which hinders the normal flow of program. It's mainly divided in two types: checked exceptions and unchecked exceptions. Checked occurs at the compile time. That means JVM compiler checks the exception, whereas unchecked exceptions occur at the runtime, which cannot be handled by the JVM compiler. Java provides 5 different keywords to handle the exceptions in Java. They are try, catch, finally, throw, and throws. Try block is used to throw an exception. Whichever program you feel is risky or that may throw an exception, that is included in try block. Catch block is used to catch the exception thrown by the try block. And finally, it is used at the end of try catch to clean up the resources, such as closing the DB connections or closing the files. It will always execute no matter try catch executes or not. Then comes throw and throws. There is a subtle difference between these two keywords. Throw we use to explicitly raise an exception inside a method, whereas throws we declare along with a method name or method signature. This throws will ultimately pass on the reference to the throw only. Now let's look at how JVM react at the backend when exception is occurred. When exception occurred, JVM creates an exception object and it will pass on the JVM checks for a catch block, a suitable catch block which matches this exception object. If it founds, then the exception is caught and the normal flow will continue. If not found, the exception will propagate and stack will move back. At every stack call, JVM checks if there is a suitable catch block which matches the exception object. At the end, when the stack is empty and it reaches the main method, if the exception match is still not found, then the program terminates